Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Mother-in-Law Stories. What is it with some mothers-in-law that after the marriage takes place, they change their attitude completely towards their daughter-in-law? Well, today's first story is exactly about that. So let's not waste any more time in the introduction and get started. My dear husband and I have been married for just over 5 years. We have a wonderful relationship. In the beginning, I had a good relationship with my mother-in-law as well. She was very loving and supportive at our wedding. A few months later, when I suffered a sudden, severe and devastating hearing loss, she was very encouraging as well. Around the same time as my hearing loss though, she started experiencing health problems. The resulting medications and depression seemed to have changed her personality and exaggerated all of her negative character traits. This all started about 3 years ago when father-in-law called and asked if they could come see us for Thanksgiving and my dear husband's birthday, since my mother-in-law was missing her sons a lot. Each son lives more than 12 hours away, but in different directions. Her other son is a bachelor. I said that they were welcome to come, so long as they understood that my dear husband would have to be the primary host, since I had a great deal of work to do. I was a doctoral candidate at the time, and I had term papers and high-level translations to finish before the end of the semester, which was only 2 weeks away. They came and we had a nice Thanksgiving dinner. Then, the day after, mother-in-law made a suggestion about what we could do that day. I politely told her that, as much as I'd like to, I had to go do some work. I entered my study and left my dear husband with his parents for the day. Dear husband made a number of suggestions about activities to entertain them, places to see and things to do. My mother-in-law shot down every suggestion and parked herself on the couch in order to pout about how I wasn't entertaining her like a proper hostess. The next morning, we awoke to find the in-laws with their suitcases packed. They left, mad, 3 days before the scheduled end of their visit. Mother-in-law's parting words were that they wouldn't return until our lifestyle had changed. Our lifestyle consists of frugal living and hard working. We're responsible and mature adults. My job is my graduate studies, which I can't ignore even if my mother-in-law is in town. That's why I tried to make it clear before they came. And remember, they invited themselves out here. A few days after their abrupt departure, dear husband received a 5-page single-spaced letter, Word document, from his mother that criticized me for being ill-mannered, rude, and uncaring. It also accused me of actively mistreating her. She suggested that dear husband's football watching the day after Thanksgiving was a symptom of his depression because I was verbally abusive to him. This because she tried to give him instructions while I was cooking Thanksgiving dinner, and I told him no. I wanted him to do something else for me instead. The audacity in contradicting her instructions while in my own kitchen and talking to my own dear husband was apparently abusive. Dear husband called her. He stood up to her and defended me. He also told her that she was way out of line. She cried and cried, saying how I had refused to build any relationship with her and that she thought she had raised her son better than that to treat his guests in the way she was treated. She told him about how much better the visits were when she goes to see my brother-in-law. He was single, so she got to play mommy and do all the cooking, cleaning, laundry, shopping, etc. They never even talked about coming back. We visited them that Christmas and it went okay. She was superficially polite, at least. But I later learned that they were getting ready to spend another 3 weeks with my brother-in-law, which added up to a total of 3 months that they spent with him during an 18-month span. And still, they refused to even think about coming back here until I apologized for my behavior, mistreatment, and bad manners. I wasn't going to do that and my husband had my back, so eventually they let it go and decided to come visit us again for Labor Day last year. The visit was going okay until I stepped out of the room for 5 minutes to recover my composure after my mother-in-law had, once again, intruded into a conversation between me and my dear husband about some renovating projects we were working on. When I came back, mother-in-law had disappeared. She spent the rest of the day and most of the next refusing to speak to us or eat anything, but she made sure to stay in plain sight of us at all times so that we would get the hint that she was mad about something. My dear husband finally questioned her in the evening. It turned into yet another attack on me. The biggest shock was that this time my father-in-law joined in the bashing. I was told while sitting in my own living room that I expect too much accommodation from people. As you may remember, I suffered a severe hearing loss 2 months after I got married. I'm pretty badly hearing impaired now. I shouldn't expect or want to hear what's going on around me. I should just accept the fact that I can't hear. According to my father-in-law, I asked my dear husband too many questions. I had to leave him alone and just learn to live with not hearing. My mother-in-law then said that she has a degree in disabilities. She has some chronic pain health problems, but she is a heck of a far cry from being disabled despite her delusions to the contrary. Therefore, she knows that I expect too much. Moreover, they continue to tell me that since they made such a huge sacrifice in coming to see us, we ought to be so grateful that we should be tripping over ourselves to show them gratitude. Concerning the renovations that father-in-law was helping dear husband with, I shouldn't want, need, or expect to know what they were working on my house, but I should just be content to show how grateful I am that it's getting done. After all, once again, it's all about them. In fact, she even said that she was really offended by a 30-minute nap my dear husband, her son, had taken after church that day. He couldn't be letting her love him if he was asleep. At one point, when I started crying tears of sheer frustration over the personal attacks, I heard my mother-in-law break out into very noisy sobs about how I just don't understand what it's like to have grown children. It was so obviously clear to me that she was bothered that my tears were taking the attention away from her, and so she was trying to return the focus to how she had been offended. Mother-in-law suggested they should pack up and leave the next day. Dear husband and I both asked them not to leave. We wanted them to stay the last scheduled day in hopes that we could find some healing and reconciliation. I'd forgotten, of course, that one can't find reconciliation with someone with the emotional maturity of a child. Someone who believes that the entire world revolves around her. I can't even believe how bitter I sound. She spent the last day once again refusing to talk to us, refusing to eat, but sitting in plain sight. It was the most manipulative, passive-aggressive behavior I have ever witnessed. She even told dear husband that she was disappointed in the way she'd been treated because she thought she raised him better. If that's not a controlling, manipulative statement, I don't know what is. Dear husband and I have been married for almost 6 years now. He's a successful doctor and a responsible and loving husband, and yet she still thinks that he and I are little children whom she can manipulate and parent when things don't go her way. I'd gone furniture shopping with mother-in-law the day before it all blew up, and we had a great time. She'd offered to buy us a table while at the store. I said that I wanted to wait till dear husband had seen it. She seemed excited by that. Then, suddenly, the offer was withdrawn that evening. I still have no idea what little thing I did to make me not worthy of a gift. Now it's my birthday. She's always sent at least a token gift. This year, nothing. It's like I've been slapped in the face after once again having made efforts to overcome the family divide. She doesn't seem to realize that her son is entirely on my side. We've got a fantastic marriage, and he sees her attempts to control for what they are. All she is doing by acting this way towards me is driving her son further away from her. But I'm still trying to figure out how on earth I went from being loved when I was a bride to being disliked as a daughter-in-law. Well, that's a bummer, OP. Going from being liked and having a good relationship with her to having this weird, controlling, passive-aggressive relationship actually sucks. In my opinion, you're trying to do everything to actually mend a relationship, but apparently she just doesn't want it. Regardless of what the situation is that made her have this personality change, it's not your problem. It's actually your father-in-law's problem. Considering your husband is aware of everything and you guys have a great relationship, my suggestion would be just focus on yourselves. You're not obligated to subject yourself to that treatment. But then again, that's just my opinion. Alright, now let's move on to the next story. I would like to impart some anecdotes about my ex-future mother-in-law. Not only did she attempt to completely take over the wedding with my fiance's approval, but she also was seeing to it that all of my fiance's future pension, savings account, and property were kept in her name. By the way, her husband is alive and well and living with her. If we went away for a weekend, she had it planned that he had to return to her house on a Sunday without my knowledge to have lunch. When I went to a holiday party with him, she saw to it that he commented badly on my attire. I was wearing a Vera Wang winter white cocktail dress. If we went on an overnighter, he had to call her while I was standing there with a lit fireplace, wine, and cheese, and wearing a beautiful nightgown. Of course, I was wrong for being upset. According to him, I had no feeling that he was concerned for his parents' safety. However, his parents could go away to Atlantic City for days, he could go to Florida to scuba dive for a week without me, key phrase, and there seemed to be no concern for their safety. When we began living together, I thought it strange that he received no mail at our home. I found out that she had all of his mail come to her house in order for her to retain her involvement and control. I am an educated, intelligent, well-traveled woman, unlike ex-future mother-in-law, who owns her own business and home. This was my appeal to the both of them. She told me that I was a good deal and that he had a chance like this before, but he blew it. She was going to see to it that her son didn't blow it this time. She began calling him at work and they would plot and plan their next move from there. She could feed anything into this guy like a robot and he would carry it out. Why not? She programmed him for 30 years of his life. He was never married before. There is no question here as to why. Then the intimacy stopped. He couldn't perform and wouldn't so much as touch me accidentally in bed without pulling his hand away as if he touched a leper. The revelations came out that, and I quote, "I can't sleep with women I care about, only with women I don't care about. It's a guy thing." No, it's not a guy thing. It's a mama's boy thing. It got better. He told me that if we got married and if he signed a prenup, he would go to a judge and have it contested, saying that he didn't know what he was signing. I heard his sainted mother's voice all over that comment. I threw him out of the house right then and there. Of course, the stories are coming back that I am a mean, horrible woman for doing that, and he and his mother are glad he found out about my nastiness. I should have listened to his father. He tried to warn me about all of this. Now, my 34-year-old ex is living at home with his mommy again. Wow, that is definitely a mommy's boy. I mean, that woman is so far up his head that he can't even perform intimately. She really screwed him up, and OP, you really dodged a bullet there. It's a good thing you have a shiny spine and common sense, or else you would have been living with this weird situation all your life like actually some people do. Yikes, so well done on kicking him out. Alright, well, we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you guys liked it. If you did, go ahead and click like. If you still haven't subscribed, then what are you waiting for? Just click subscribe and the bell so you're notified when a new video comes out. Also, don't forget about my other channel, LG Reddit AITA, a channel exclusively about Am I the A-hole. And finally, don't forget to go to the Lost Genre subreddit where you can share your stories or cross-post stories from other subs for me to feature in videos. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.